This has to feel good for so many reasons, but in particular, the storyline, of course, has been quick turnaround from the World Cup. It was not a good World Cup. There was a lot of concern about whether or not they could get the job done against a team that did have a good World Cup, making it out of the group stage for the very first time. I want to ask you first, though, Jordan, from a coach's perspective, how relieved is Bev Priestman?
Relieved. Very relieved. Relieved with an exclamation point. All cap locks.
Underline.
Underline, italicized. Look, the players came and performed. They showed up. Lively. The stadium, great atmosphere. But they all put together tonight. And you can see that every player was working for the other. When you have that as your base, good things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very noticeable throughout the pitch. You saw them, they wanted it, they committed to it, and they had resilience right till that 90th minute. No matter who came in, everyone did their job, and you just really saw how bad these women wanted it.
They wanted it. Their coach put them in the best position to go out and get it, and they did just that. Let's head pitch side now. Oliver Platt alongside Carmelina Moscato. Guys?
Thanks, Andy. Carm, I don't know if you want to give it a traffic light or a letter grade or what kind of scale you want to use this time to rank that performance, but that seemed like the right way to kind of turn the page on the World Cup and start on a new path here.
Yeah, there's a lot to be happy about tonight. The qualification is always the end in mind, but what I love is that they played a new way. They seem invigorated in their attack. They seem solid in their defense. These are some of the things we were hoping to see by the end of this tournament and this, pair of games, but also the future is bright. I mean, when you see Simi Awujo come on the pitch, do what she does, Liv Smith, I mean, there is a lot to be excited about, and they have 9 to 10 months to get this right on the turnaround. It's a great night.
We wanted more open play goals, and we got those. That was a much improved attacking Canada team, but the set pieces were back as well, and they were a real big threat for Canada tonight.
They really were. I mean, with the hiring of Jen Hurst, which is their goalkeeper coach, set piece expert, they had increased their percentages of goals scored from set pieces leading into the World Cup. We didn't see them there, and now we're able to see them turn the game winner from a beautifully well-executed corner kick, because it looked like they had actually looked at an isolation of a sort of a deficiency in Spencer's height and saw an opportunity to overload her blinder and give a great finish. So great job on that one. Great delivered by Leon and Lacasse to put it away.
Yeah, 4 goals over the 180 minutes for Canada. We talked about the partnerships on Friday night and how we were starting to see, Lawrence and Fleming or Collins and Lacasse on the left side. But there was real depth there as well for Canada tonight, with players like Heitema, you mentioned Awujo, coming on and impacting that game.
Yeah, even Sinclair. I mean, people coming on, they did a great job to continue the game plan. The tactics, they didn't waver. We had talked about that. Were they going to stray away from what had been so successful in game 1? And the answer was no. The answer was they stuck to it, they doubled down, and we saw that multiple players could fill in a role. And they all looked a little different doing it, but at the end of the day, it came off super strong.
We talked about Christine Sinclair pre-game. Let's end it there. It looked like she maybe turned the armband down, then took it back. She is the captain of the team, obviously. What did you make of kind of her, and again, what we should maybe read into this?
Yeah, she is the type of teammate and the type of player to say, she really believes in each other. She wants to lift others up, right? You see that with even some of the PKs. She'll step away if Jesse's on the pitch. I think the respect thing, don't get me wrong, but it was a little bit of an odd moment. I think all on the edge of our seats of what does Christine Sinclair's future look like. That was, I'm not going to look into it too much, but it was a weird one to turn down the captain's band.
Yeah, good to see new players coming through. Thanks, Andy. Back to you.
All right, well, I already have a task for Ollie, and I know he's going to go and grab some player interviews, because we can only go by what we see. But we know that a picture can be worth 1,000 words, and maybe in this case 1,000 truths. We don't know. But Christine Sinclair was noticeably crying. She was noticeably being consoled by some teammates there. And I don't know, right? Like, why? Is it because she's really happy that she has a chance to go back to the Olympics? Or is it because it's the last time we're seeing our home soil? This is why we need answers. So let's get Ollie on that case, because it was a little strange to see the captain being as emotional as she was, and Shelina Zadorsky was offering her support, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. It was odd to see. I do think obviously she's ecstatic on the inside. She's probably just overwhelmed with emotions right now. But it is, I'm very curious to hear what that's all about. Is it because this is the last time we're seeing her on home soil, which is obviously, a sad moment for Canada, but it also shows a step in into the future and what we will see coming. Sorry,
You're very excited.
Yes,
I'm qualified, girl.
I'm just struggling right now because I'm so excited. I want to turn around and watch the celebration, but you know, I do think that at the end of the day, this is showing what we will see in the future. And Sinclair's obviously going to step away at some point, but her contribution on the field tonight was also immaculate. So you know, props to her for sticking it out.
Turning of the page is definitely happening, but this fan base absolutely adores Christine Sinclair. When she was subbed in, people saw already that she was standing at the sideline. This place absolutely erupted when she came in for Adriana Leon. So there she is. You can kind of hear a little bit in the background. It's a little subdued here as my voice is overpowering it, but it was very loud in here. The fans love her. She did have a couple chances in this one, so we wondered if we would see her. We did. She came on in. This was a chance where it's like, oh man, to the breadbasket.
Yeah, she did all the hard work there. Went by one defender, skipped past one, and got to pick a corner. Christine Sinclair. Look, this is a decorated footballer for the past 20 years, right? Like, we will never see another Christine Sinclair. I'm bold enough to say that just because of what she embodies and how she's played. So we just have to appreciate these moments. But those tears, the way that her teammates consoled her, it looks like the end. It looks like it's nearing the end. Was this her last game at home? All these things that you don't really want to talk about, but they might be true. Those weren't happy tears, in my opinion. Those were tears of, this is my time ending. This could be the last time on my home soil. This could be one of my last games, which is kind of eerie. But I guess the good part about that, the silver lining, is there are a lot of stars that stood out tonight as well. Olivia Smith, Simia Ujos are coming on, but just the way this team played, you're looking at some players where, yeah, I want to tune in for the next 4-8 years and see this team really develop. But Christine Sinclair was a player to really start that and ignite that, and she is really that person, the pioneer that really connects the old and the new, and she's just been that player for so long. So if it is her last, if it is one of the last, it's just been a great ride to be a part of.
We'll get Oliver Platt on that case for sure, but you're right. She's a huge reason why the Canadians have been so dominant at the Olympic tournament in particular. They missed the first 3 editions, then they got in 2008. It was an 8th place finish, and then we know the rest from there. In 2012, it really was her historics against the United States, and even then the drama that went with that, but then being able to be in that bronze medal game against France and getting the bronze, and then doing it again in 2016. And then the mantra going into Tokyo was change the color, and they did just that. And she also scored the opening goal for Canada in Tokyo. So this is somebody who's also been a huge contributor. And this is another reason why we were very nervous about the possibility of them not qualifying, because they've medaled at 3 straight Olympics, but their World Cup play was just not good enough. And open play, we had talked about the goals from open play. Prince scored, Leon scored in open play. Tonight, Lacasse gets the goal off a set piece, Haidema, open play. How much credit do you give Canada for being able to get those 4 goals in 2 games against Jamaica? How much do you look and say, this was a different Jamaican team, not the one that was so defensively strong, the World Cup? How are you looking at it?
I'm split. It's a bit of both. When I look at Jamaica in the World Cup, I think that they frustrated teams. They frustrated Brazil. They frustrated France when they played them, because when you attack the way France and Brazil did, you're expecting goals. You're like, how have we not scored yet? But that didn't really happen when they played Canada in these 2 legs, because Canada was scoring, Canada was pushing, so Jamaica had to claw and try to slow them down. So I give most of the credit to Canada by the way they attacked the game, by the way they took control, especially tonight, because you want to go down at home, you could really just get in your head and be a shell of yourself, and your shoulders could drop. But that was a different Canada side. They said, yeah, this is our game to win. We're not losing at home. We're not losing the second leg. We're going to the Olympics. And you love when you see that from a team, when they embody that desire, that passion, that liveliness. That's what we saw from Canada. So I think they get most of the respect. But this is also the Jamaica side that wasn't as galvanized as we've seen.
Yeah, well, all credit to Canada for sure, because now they will join the likes of USA. The first time CONCACAF could qualify was last summer. The Americans were able to do that. France, the host nation, Brazil and Colombia. So those are the 4 teams who have already qualified. Now check, you can put Canada next to that. They are going to Paris 2024. Let's take a look at this winning goal right now. Jordan Haidema she gets subbed into the game. And I swear this is a carbon copy. Isn't this Ashley Lawrence again on the right with a nice cross and a header into the back of the net?
Yeah, it absolutely is. But this is actually, you know, a lot of credit to Jordan Huitema. She was actually the one that flicked that ball in, and she was able to spin out and get into the perfect position. She held her run. Very quality cross by Ashley Lawrence, but a lot of credit to Huitema here. And, you know, this is what we've wanted to see from Huitema. We've wanted to see her come alive, and I think this transformation and formation will allow her to really show what she's great at, which is getting on the end of those crosses.
Yeah, you mentioned Lisi. She's a fox in the box, right? Big frame, very good at heading the ball. And just when she flicked it onto Ashley Lawrence, was just patient with that run, right? Knows that she could always go first post, but if it's clipped to the middle or back post, that she could put her head on it. But just to put that quality as well and pick out a corner.
It's definitely not easy.
Always going away from the keeper. It was a beautiful finish.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but do you keep Ashley Lawrence on the right until it just doesn't work? Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
I mean,
yeses.
Every time she gets the ball on that side, something is happening. Whether, you know, she's getting a corner or...
Sorry. I'm sorry.
And you made fun of us for jumping earlier.
That caught me off guard. Please proceed.
All I was saying was every time Ashley Lawrence gets the ball, she's making something happen, whether she's getting the ball in the box or she's simply, you know, being patient and allowing the ball to swing to the other side or getting a corner. Something is always happening. She's always creating with her abilities to really go at people and, you know, get quality crosses in the box.
A good player puts the ball in the area. A great player, like Ashley Lawrence on the wing, finds someone. When she crosses the ball, sometimes when there's no one there, she whips in the area. But there's no coincidence in leg one, Nichelle Prince's goal, she found her. Ashley Lawrence found her in the box. Same with today for Jordan Huitema's goal. She found her in the box. Her on that right side, chef's kiss. She can get those crosses in, and then someone puts their head on it, tap in, whatever it might be, but there's goals from Ashley Lawrence on her service.
Everything looked great from the Canadian skill level, being able to score, but mentally, yes, that's what you wanted to see tested as well, or perhaps you just didn't want to see it tested. You want it to be smooth sailing. But usually when you're tested and you bounce back, that's how you know how resilient you are, and that was the case for the Canadians, and they needed to be. In the 33rd minute was Jamaica who struck first. As we take a look at the opening goal here, bit of a tough situation for Julia Grosso to be in, where the ball's just so close to her, and handball, and there you go, free kick just outside the box.
Yeah, that's obviously a really unfortunate situation for Julia. She came out, it almost looks like she's trying to stop her momentum from going forward. She ends up lifting her arms. Again, unfortunate on her part, but, you know, the goal itself is just, this is world-class finish. There's really nothing Sheridan could have did. This was perfectly placed, perfectly struck. You know, at the end of the day, that's exactly what you want from a player that far out. It's just, again, all-around world-class.
What did you like about that one, Jordan?
Sorry, I was in awe. I was just watching it over and over again, and like a little bit, shout out to my mother who's Jamaican. I said, man, she was at home cheering for sure. Drew Spence struck that beautifully, but it wasn't enough. Canada came back. They looked galvanized. They pushed, and that's why I give them credit as well, because even though Jamaica, you get stunned, you get shell-shocked, we still came back, and they were pushing and pushing, and they got that tying goal.
Bev Priestman wanted the 12th player, and that's exactly what she got, because even though that goal went in, it was almost like immediately the fans just knew what they needed to do. They knew that they needed to galvanize this team, and that's exactly what they did. And before we even get to the tying goal, there were chances even before that. The Canadians turned around right away just a few minutes later. We're creating opportunities where we thought, oh, maybe even Jamaica would have had an own goal. I don't know if we could take a look at that right now. But there was a great one, there was a great save as well by Rebecca Spencer. Then there was also another great one here off a corner. Maybe, that is the one where we thought it was going to be an own goal.
Yeah, that was a great ball by Adrienne Leon right there, where easily, if it's inches lower, right, that's in the back of the net. But it's difficult to, you see right there the goal for Lacasse, but it's difficult, and Adrienne Leon deserves a lot lot of credit, because she puts two balls into the same area back to back.
I was like, I didn't know which one we were
I can understand how it's confusing. It's carbon copy, right? The same. But I was even whispering here, right, saying just put it straight on, put it in that magic area. I don't want any credit for the goal, but I was saying put it at near post. But it's difficult to do that twice, and Adrienne Leon, that's perfection right there.
Yeah, by the way, who was working pyro behind the net? Because they were quick.
Ready.
When that goal went in,
Got
poof.
shots.
Did you jump at that one, or?
No, that one I was expecting. I was expecting that one. But let's hear. So Chloe Lacasse, that is her second goal for country, got her first last fall. Here's what she had to say after the win.
What to ask you, massive atmosphere, a special performance. Can you tell me about your feelings?
I mean, knowing that we just qualified for the Olympics and now we get to go back there and defend that gold medal, it's unimaginable, the feeling, truthfully, having my family in the crowd. Can't explain it.
Well, can you speak to that? You have your family here and you have a bunch of other fans here.
Yeah, I mean, getting the chance to come to Toronto and having this home crowd sold out, I mean, we couldn't ask for anything better.
Has your mind drifted a little bit to the Olympics?
For sure, now that we've qualified, we can start looking towards that, but tonight our focus was completely on defeating the Jamaicans and getting the chance to go to the Olympics. Thank you.
Circle it on the calendar because you are going to Paris next summer. And this could have been a bigger margin of victory. You know, we already know Rebecca Spencer had to come up with some big saves in this one. We know the Canadians themselves were just maybe a little off target or hit a crossbar. But here's our all-state save of the match. This one was in the 39th minute, and it was Ashley Lawrence with a great strike. Spencer just getting her hand on it, hits the crossbar, and it does end up getting cleared. But this was another great strike by Ashley Lawrence.
It struck so well. The half volley to have it settled, wet pitch, it bounced perfectly. Her body's over it, but Rebecca Spencer showed up big for Jamaica in the World Cup. Showed up big again tonight, but Canada just kept on coming with the goals.
There's so much more I want to get to, and in particular, even Adriana Leon. We'll talk about her. We have a lot that we've got to get into because it is a great night here for Canada as we show you the full-time stats. 2-1, they are victorious here. Okay, they don't get the clean sheet. That's okay. I mean, I always look at it sometimes, too, from a goalkeeper perspective. So Kaylin Sheridan's happy. They're not that happy. They never really are when they let in a goal. I know that. But, hey, you know what? 14 shots as well. They were all over Jamaica in this one. And they are all over that flight going to Paris. We have more coming up here as you continue to watch Matchday Live on One Soccer presented by CIBC. The celebrations continue here. This was just after the match. Bev Priestman given a nice uplifting speech to the crew. They were happy about this one. They are all smiles. So is Jordan Heidema. She got the winning goal in this one. We're going to continue to break it down. More here on One Soccer.
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
He got his head on it daily, and then the opening goal. Campbell into the area, and there's the equaliser.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Sinclair as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alfonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
The throw-in going to Canada. Lawrence will take it.
There's a look at the results. Canada at the all the editions that they've been at the Olympics, and the bronze, and gold, becoming the first Canadian team at a Summer Olympics to medal at 3 straight games. We know at the Winter Olympics they've done that on the hockey side of things, but they're the first team to do so at a Summer Olympics for Canada. And you know they want to maintain that gold medal, as now they know they're going to Paris 2024. Andy, Jess, and Jordan still with you. This seems to be the MO of the Canadians. They do well at the Olympics. They get on the podium, that's clear. But it's where the World Cup is where they struggle. So now knowing that they are going back to the Olympics, now knowing what they did at the World Cup and not getting out of the group stage, where do you rank them still in this worldwide sport of soccer?
You know, I think it's a little too early to say right now. Obviously, if we're judging them off the World Cup performance, we're putting them a lot lower. If we're judging how well they've done in this new formation the past 2 games, you might rank them higher. But it's also arguable that, you know, they were expected to beat a team like Jamaica. A lot of people might say, regardless of how Jamaica performed at that World Cup, Canada is expected to be the better team and come out and beat them. So I think it's too early to say. I think we need to see Canada against different opponents of different rankings, you know, those top 10 teams, and see how it pans out there. I do think it's a little early to say at this point.
And we know that right now with them going to the Olympics, there is going to be a window at the end of October, and now Canada Soccer, based on this result, is going to see what kind of opponent they can also get them, because you don't just want an opponent that's not going to challenge you either. I know a lot of people want to see these windows filled, but there has to still be some thought about an opponent that can actually give you a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's next. I think you saw in the 2 legs, Canada playing Jamaica, felt confident, right? But how do you feel when you play against a team where you can't make these little mistakes? We graded Canada. You said an A+ on One Nation. I said A.
I said A.
Okay, A, sorry. And I said an A- based on being better on the ball. But how great do you have to be if you play a team that can punish you, right? So I think that's the next step for Canada, is to show that you can be with the best. The rankings for me, they're a bit skewed, because when you say top 10, that doesn't assure you a victory. But it just assures that maybe you're playing a certain type of competition. But that's the next step for Canada, is playing a team that is maybe better than them or as good as them, but they show up on the day and get it done. But if they play like how they've done these past 2 legs, I'm behind them, this country's behind them, but I think they could take on anyone.
This formation also really made Adriana Leon look good. This, again, is a player we know can score goals, brilliantly assists. I want to see her get some good playing time with Aston Villa, because if this is what she's able to do without getting pro time, this is somebody who can really star for the Canadian team moving forward.
Yeah, this formation works for Adriana Leon. It brings out everything she's great at, getting up and down that flank, getting the ball in the box, striking from distance when needed. Everything she is as a player is, you know, she's able to show it in this formation. You know, we spoke earlier about a player like Fleming. Fleming, this formation makes her have to play a little different. She's a little further back on the pitch. So although she is getting on the ball, she's not getting it in the spots we're used to seeing her get it in at the top of the 18 to have her strike it. So I do think that this formation allows some to shine and changes the roles of others. But at the end of the day, it's working. So yeah, I think Adriana Leon is somebody that is going to continue to shine in this formation.
The formation worked, but with Leon specifically, she was tenacious. And that attitude, that permeated throughout the squad. And if you can replicate that game in and game out, this is a team that could go far. So that was beautiful to see, these 2 legs.
Listen, the Canadians had a task, and that was to qualify for the Olympics, and that's exactly what they did over these last 2 games against Jamaica. They sealed the deal here tonight in front of a sold-out crowd inside BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario. Despite Jamaica getting on the board first, the Canadians stayed resilient. They bounced back. 2-1 victory for them. They're going to Paris. Thanks for watching here on One Soccer.